About a year ago, Dr. Jesse Clark was taking care of people hospitalized with COVID when he met a man he'll never forget. "I thought he was sleeping," says Clark, who's an infectious disease specialist at the University of California, Los Angeles. "The man was lying still in the bed. But when I got around to the other side of the bed, he looked up at me and said, 'My mother just died of COVID. My cousin brought this into the family. She said she was wearing a mask, but she didn't. She got COVID. Now she's dead, too. She has 2 kids. What's going to happen to them?' Then the man says, 'Am I going to die of COVID?' The man was doing well enough to fight off SARS-CoV-2, Clark says. And eventually he recovered. But that moment lingered in Clark's memory because it reminded him of another incredibly sad, and scary, moment in his life. It happened when he was a young man during the early stages of the HIV pandemic. I am a gay man who grew up in the 80s and 90s, long before we had an effective treatment for HIV. And friends, colleagues, people were dropping dead left and right. And there was nothing you could do about it," Clark says, with a lump in his throat. And the question was always, am I next? At that time, many people in the LGBTQ community had a constant fear of losing their life, Clark says. "You're trying to help take care of people around you, but you're also wondering, is this going to happen to me?" But many people outside that community didn't understand the fear prompted by HIV, he says, at least not until early 2020 when COVID hit. COVID brought that feeling home to a lot of people in a way that HIV had not. That shift in perspective, or that new understanding, has reignited the fight against HIV, which still kills about 700,000 people each year. It has spurred people to try to end the HIV epidemic again, Clark says. During the COVID pandemic, scientists around the world made history. They developed and launched a new vaccine in record-breaking time. Researchers at the Commonwealth Fund estimate the SARS-CoV-2 vaccines have averted about 2 million deaths and prevented more than 17 million hospitalizations in the U.S. alone. And to spin a spillover effect, the pandemic probably accelerated the HIV vaccine field 5 or 10 years within the span of a year, Clark says. The technology that made that breakthrough possible, the mRNA technology, is giving a much-needed boost to the development of an HIV vaccine. And boy, does the field need that boost. For nearly 40 years, scientists have been trying to develop an HIV vaccine. Since 2000, the U.S. government, together with philanthropic institutions and pharmaceutical companies, have spent more $15 billion on the endeavor, the National Bureau of Economic Research estimates.